I'd love to introduce our very next speaker, Michael O'Connell. He is the Chief Analytics Officer at TIBCO, and today he's going to talk to us about human-centered AI, concepts and applications. Michael manages the TIBCO data science team, a group of data science experts and practitioners. He works closely with his team to deliver an evolving set of AI apps and tech tools across a number of industries. These solutions span the worlds of science and engineering through customer and marketing analytics. Michael received his PhD in statistics at North Carolina State University. He has been working on statistical software applications for the past 30 years and has published many statistics, services, patents, and publications. His book, A Picture is Worth 1,000 Tables, is devoted to best practices in visual analytics with a focus on data from life sciences. Welcome to the stage, Michael. All right. Michael.
Hey, Kate.
Welcome.
I see. Can I share my screen?
Yes, you can share your screen. I see it up there. I'm gonna hop off the virtual stage here and let you take it away. Right now, we're seeing StreamYard on your screen, so if you can click over to your presentation, I'm gonna.
Oh, okay. Am I good now? Can you see?
You're good now. All right.
Perfect. Well, thanks, Kate. I'm speaking today about human-centered AI, concepts and applications. And really, this work is based on collaboration with Ben Schneiderman, who's just released his book on this topic. And it's a framework for technology design where you can have high automation and also high human control. So just released, I recommend it. And really, the language that I'm going to cover and apply to some industry applications is covered in Chapter 9. This pattern language, the first concept is preview first, select and initiate, and manage the execution. So that's from the user experience perspective, and that's the one of some 9 concepts that I'm going to focus on today. So you can see here, say Google Maps, when I'm here sitting in San Francisco, I'm about to go to Palo Alto this morning. I can see that Google Maps has given me 2 options, and I can preview those depending on the traffic. I can select and initiate, and then I can manage my execution throughout that. So that's just one concept. And, this has an analogy with data analytics, the concept of taking an overview first. You can see I've got an overview here of New York City, demographics, census tract areas. I zoom and filter into an area of interest, like where I might place this new store. And then I get the details on demand about that area of interest. I can drill into that and look at who lives within a certain region of that potential store location, for example. Now, in Chapter 9, Ben talks about a number of examples that give a lot of automation, but also a lot of human control with digital cameras, navigation, text search, autocomplete, spelling correction. And what I'm doing today is applying these principles to some highly valuable industry applications. So I'm going to start with high-tech manufacturing and the idea of pattern classification on the wafer maps. Now, high-tech manufacturing happens at nanometer scale. And just to give you an idea of that, a nanometer to a tennis ball is like a tennis ball to the size of the Earth. So we're at very micro type level here when we're manufacturing semiconductor wafers. And we can look at single parameters and create these wafer maps. We can smooth them. We can look at multiple layers and overlay them. We can look at representing that in multi-layer trellis displays, for example. And really, the combination of human control and automation here is pretty amazing because, the human brain can process entire images that the eye sees for as little as 13 milliseconds. And so you can see on the right-hand side there some defect pattern class types that we may want to recognize. And if I bring that data into Spotfire, I can start to visualize that in color and so on. And let me jump into this video to show you kind of what is going on here. I'm going to select a wafer. Now, when I select that wafer, some other wafers that are similar have shown up here, and I can see a pattern there. I can see a scratch pattern. Let me start to characterize that and put that into the Spotfire application. Now you can see I've created a few little patterns there. And now if I select that scratch pattern, I can see I've seen a few of those. And now I can ask the computer to go find me similar patterns in the rest of the data that's at rest. So I can start to gather up patterns like that scratch. What I'm doing here is creating a training set that I can now build a model from. And you can see I've started to create a model. I've seen my confusion matrix there. there's 14 patterns that have been deemed as false positives. I look at those, and some of those are actually true positives. Let me iterate back and add those back into the true positive category, retrain the model. So this back and forth between the human and the machine learning, in this case, or the human and the pattern recognition, allows me to get a better model. You can see on the left-hand side, I've created a bunch of different patterns that I want to be able to detect. And now I can pick one of those, and now I can actually run the model on new data that's coming off of the manufacturing facility. I can start to tag different patterns that are coming off. And now I have the ability to understand a certain batch of wafers, take remedial action to avoid this scratch pattern, and so on. So this ability to the human to identify the pattern from machine suggestions and iterate that, train the machine learning model once you've built the training set for the pattern that you want to recognize, and then run that machine learning model on new wafers and classify the patterns. This is really the essence of human-centered AI: preview first, select and initiate, manage the execution. And this is a highly valuable application that we've been putting out into some of this space and really literally saving billions of dollars. I've got one other application I want to walk through quickly in dynamic pricing. Now, in this case, in the insurance industry, you want to be able to put out nimble dynamic pricing for self-service insurance policies to use in tactical sales campaigns. So somebody, a customer, comes on, makes an application for a policy. They, get added to a segment that you've already defined. That segment gets a base discount. You randomize the discount so you can do price elasticity analysis later on, and then you get the final price quote. Now that online action part sort of hides the quite detailed mathematics below, where you're fitting a machine learning model where the Y variable might be whether or not someone renewed their policy based on X variable customer attributes. You're trapping those into different micro segments that give you the business rules to do the online action. And then you've got a set of price tables that are there to make sure you make a profit, but the price, the segments are how long has the customer been with you, if they paid their premiums on time, if they made any claims, that kind of thing. So that is underneath that. But basically, you've got the historical data, you've created a model, you've deployed that, and now you're visualizing the results from that. But as the data accumulate, where you've got quotes that are being accepted or rejected, you then want to rebase that model. Now that happens early and often. And that's where the human-centered AI part comes in, because as you're looking at the new data, you're creating a new model, comparing it to the old model. You've got to take into account regulatory conditions. There's certain regulations, for example, in the EU, where you can't give different quotes based on gender. So you have to literally take the gender terms out of the model. Now, when you do the update, you're doing a champion challenger. You have to look very carefully to see, what are how does the challenger model relate to the champion model? Does it support the campaign? Does it, have the regulatory approval status? How do I update my price table? So that, that's part of that rebasing loop, to previewing, selecting, and then managing the execution. And there's actually was quite a controversy when the EU gender equality ruling came in. Folks thought that women were going to get a raw deal because it's well known they're better drivers and they usually have lower premiums. And we had to take the gender term out of the model. But thankfully, when all the other terms went in, the driving record, the claims, and so on, women did not get the rise in premiums that was we were scared would happen. The other variables took up the slack, so to speak. But basically, what you're doing to create this is let me jump out into a live session here. Maybe I didn't get the live session to work there. Here it is. So, you're able to explore the data and understand here the people who didn't renew in the gray, who did renew in the blue. What's the effect of different car types? What's the effect of different vehicle values? You can start to compare models and see which one is better. Look at the confusion matrix and ROC curves and so on. Understand the predictor importance here. What are the variables that are affecting a renewal? Move the correlation and the X variables around and understand, vehicle values related to premium here. But really understand what the predictor variables effects are, compare the models, and then deploy out the model. You can start to play with the thresholds or, other things. But bottom line is, you can come up with a model that you're then going to deploy out through the model ops system into production. So that basically, once you have a model out there in the model ops, model management area, you've got the parameters of the model that you match to the inputs of the new data. You score the model on the new data. With the Python step, you're creating the new price tables. You're mapping the data channels to the inputs of the model. Could be data channels, could be on a Kafka stream. The output could go back to a Kafka stream, for example. You're listening to the data coming in. You're scoring the model. You're getting a handle on what premiums are being accepted in what age groups, at what regions, and so on. You're keeping track of the profitability of the campaign. So these, you can change the whole approach for different types of campaigns, different insurance products, different demographics, and you've got this live analysis of the effects of the model. So those are the two examples I wanted to cover. It is, as a closing comment here, it is F1 season starting up. We do a lot there, and this is another example of human-centered AI by really doing a lot of simulations from a digital twin before you ever get to the track, and then putting those results into action. But let me leave it there. If you want to learn more about what I've been talking about today, please join us at the Analytics Forum in June the 13th. It's a free event, and we hope to see you there. Here's a few references from today's presentation, including the new book from Ben on human-centered AI. With that, I'll turn it back to you, Kate.
All right. Thank you so much, Michael. Always a pleasure to have you on the show. The questions and comments are flowing in, and really excited to go ahead and ask you some of these questions. First of all, I really love all of the examples you provided for human-centered AI, and really thank you for all the visuals. I always love your presentations. I could watch it for hours. And, I think a month ago or so, I did watch it for hours when you and Neo had the DATAcated takeover. And on that note, there was a question here from Dustin, who I think also tuned into your prior session. And he's asking, will we be seeing the super smoother during today's presentation?
Oh, Dustin. Hey, how you doing? We didn't have time to squeeze in the super duper smoother today, but thank you for your interest in that, and thank you for the fun time we had at the takeover recently. And I hope you can come along to the Analytics Forum.
Yes, absolutely. We've got a question here from Ramdas, and he's asking, what is powering all of these visualizations?
Oh, thanks for the question, Ramdas. This is a TIBCO Spotfire. It's a interactive visual analytics experience that also includes predictive modeling and streaming data.
Awesome. Thank you. Question here from John. Could you use patterns of business vocabularies at the preview layer and then use them to tag those patterns in the second stage?
That's a very interesting question. Yeah, for sure. I mean, you saw the example where I was tagging different patterns on the wafer maps, scratches or Pac-Man patterns or whatever. So I don't see a reason why you couldn't have some kind of a business vocabulary represented as metadata. And then tag those patterns as you go through, and then keep track of the metadata. I guess it depends, John, on what the frequently occurring states that you want to track, and what's the value related to those, as to how you might set up a system like that. But it seems to fall under the purview of a human-centered AI process.
Okay, thank you. We had a comment here from Avinash. He says this is very interesting. His university studies in data mining really went into detail, and this is the first time he's actually seeing it in practice. So glad you were able to get that experience here, Avinash. Michael, I want you to also tell the audience a bit more about the TAF event coming up in June.
Oh yeah, so it's really we're calling it TAF Unplugged this year because we were a little didn't know what was going on with COVID and all that. So it's a digital event. It's free. There's going to be a range of speakers from our customer base, as well as from ourselves. But it's going to be sort of hands-on-ish. So practitioners, working with data and working with analytics and visual analytics are going to be featured. The products Spotfire and Web Focus are in focus. Sorry for the pun. But a lot of machine learning and streaming data as well. We're launching our new Model Ops product, I think, around that time. So, yeah, a lot of product updates for visual analytics. A lot of Python, R type folks will be there, along with visual analytics folks with some real interesting. There's a great hackathon on renewable, sustainable energy data. and training sessions. So it's really a user type event.
Okay, great. And then I have one more question for you, but before that, I want to just quickly remind everybody that if they want to participate in the giveaway, #DATAcated, we're going to announce our first winner basically right after this last question for Michael. And that question here comes from Dustin. He's asking, how can folks learn more about how to build models like this?
Well, come to the analytics forum. I guess we will have training on how to visualize data, how to build models, how to, visual data science is a really interesting field because you can, wrangle and explore the data, but you can also very quickly run a machine learning model to support the exploration that you've done. So that iterative loop between visual analytics and data science will definitely be in focus at the analytics forum. So I encourage you to come along, Dustin.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Michael. All right, we're going to keep this party moving. So Michael, thank you again for your time. Thank you for your presentation. Always great to see you.
Thank you, Kate.
All right.